The Tower of the Hand had always smelled of ink and stone and old duty, but tonight there was another scent beneath it, sharp as a broken seal, fear. Lord Eddard Stark could taste it when he breathed. It clung to the rushes, to the tapestries, to the very air that seeped through the arrow slits and carried the distant roar of the city like a sea beyond the walls. His leg throbbed where the splint bit his flesh. Each step was a reminder of Jaime Lannister's steel and the men Ned had buried. He moved anyway, leaning on the carved cane that had once belonged to a hand he could not name. The brazier snapped and spat. He fed it a fresh log with a poker, watching sparks rise like brief orange lives. When the door opened, the guards announced Renly Baratheon, but their voices were already an afterthought. Renly did not enter like a courtier seeking favor. He came like a man arriving for judgment, shoulders squared, jaw clenched, the green of his velvet doublet dark as pine in shadow. A ring flashed on his finger, gold, heavy, a hunting hawk. For a heartbeat Ned saw Robert in him, the same breadth, the same easy strength. Then Renly's eyes met his and there was no ease there at all. "My lord," Renly said. He shut the door with his own hand. "You sent for me." "I did not," Ned replied, and the truth of it sharpened the silence. "But you are here." Renly's mouth tightened into something that might have been a smile on another night. "Then we are both honest men, which makes this easier." He took 2 steps in, stopped short of the hearth as if it were a line he would not cross. "The king is on the hunt. You know that. You know what will follow when he returns." Ned's hand closed around the head of his cane. He had written letters until his fingers cramped, to Stannis on Dragonstone, to Catelyn in the north, to men who might never read them. Words were so frail. "If the king returns." Renly's gaze flicked to the brazier, then back. "He will return or he will not. Either way, by the time the sun rises, Cersei Lannister will have the Red Keep. She will have the Gold Cloaks. She will have your head, and mine besides." Ned had known it in his bones, but hearing it spoken aloud gave it shape, like a shadow stepping into torchlight. "You presume much." "I presume only what I've watched for years." Renly's voice lowered. "The Queen has been gathering the city like thread." Peter Baelish whispers, Varys listens, and the city watch smiles at whoever pays their wages. "Your household guard is half what it was." His eyes dropped to Ned's leg, to the cane. "And you cannot run." Ned felt the heat of anger rise, quick as a strike. "I have never run." Renly spread his hands. "Then do not begin now. I offer you a clean road through filth." He stepped closer, and Ned caught the scent of him, wine and leather and the faint green of crushed leaves. "Take the Queen and her children into custody tonight, before Robert dies, before she can move. My men are here."
"Mine."
Not Baelish's cell's words. Not the watch. Ned stared at him, seeing the lines that were not usually there around Renly's mouth, the tightness at the corner of his eyes. Renly Baratheon was laughing at tourneys and kissing maidens by day. Tonight he was something else. A man who had weighed the axe and found it heavy, but necessary. "Custody," Ned repeated, and the word tasted of treason. "You would have me seize the Queen. I would have you save the realm." Renly's voice hardened. "You have Robert's will, don't you? You mean to name Stannis. You mean to set a law above blood, as if law ever stopped a knife. Do it then, but first put the knives away. Take her, take the children. Keep them safe if you insist on being honorable, but take them." Ned's mind went to children in Winterfell, to Bran's broken body, to Arya running like a wolf through the Godswood. Joffrey's pale face rose before him, cruel mouth, bright empty eyes. Tommen's softness, Myrcella's shy courtesy. They were not guilty, whatever their mother was. "You would harm them," Ned said. Renly's head snapped up. "I would not." "7 hells, Ned. I'm not my brother." His breath fogged faintly in the cool stone air. "I mean to live. I mean for you to live, because if you die, the city burns. And if the city burns, the realm bleeds. If you will not do this, then tell me now and I will ride tonight." I will not wait in a trap with my throat bared. The brazier popped, a sudden sound like a breaking neck. Ned's hands trembled. Anger, pain, the weight of the choice. He had been raised on straight lines. Duty, honor, truth. King's Landing was curves and hidden doors. Yet he had seen enough corpses here to know that refusing to choose was its own choice. Ned looked at Renly Baratheon and found no love in him. Not tonight, only urgency and a strange, grim respect. If we do this, Ned said slowly, we do it clean. No blood unless forced. The children are not to be harmed. Cersei is to be treated as a prisoner of the crown, nothing more. Renly's shoulders loosened, as if a rope had slackened. Agreed. Ned's voice dropped to iron. And you will swear it. Renly did not hesitate. He drew his sword a handspan from its sheath, enough for torchlight to catch on steel. On my life and on my brother's name.
Ned hated oaths spoken over naked steel.
He hated that he needed one, but he nodded. Then we move tonight. Renly exhaled like a man surfacing from deep water. Good. He stepped toward the door, then paused. One more thing. When we have her, you must not let Baelish touch this. Not a finger. He will sell the whole city for a clever line. Ned's mouth tightened. I know what he is. Renly's eyes held his. Then act like it. When Renly left, the Tower of the Hand seemed colder. Ned stood in the quiet and listened to his own heartbeat and the distant city. He thought of Robert, laughing at the hunt, believing himself immortal. He thought of the Queen, smiling like a knife. He thought, oh, F the realm, a thing made of fragile loyalties and hard men. He called for Tomard and his remaining guards. When they came, he gave his orders in a voice that did not shake. Lock the doors, he said, and send word, we're going to Maegor's Holdfast. They moved as quietly as men in armor could, which was to say, they moved like fate, soft until it wasn't. Renly's knights filled the passages in pairs and threes, appearing at corners, taking stairwells, closing doors with hands that did not tremble. Their cloaks were green, their mail well-oiled, their boots wrapped to dull the sound. Ned saw the discipline in them and wondered when Renly had begun preparing for this night. Months? Years? A man did not conjure order out of thin air at midnight. Ned's own men looked thinner beside them, fewer. A Northman's strength was in the cold and in distance and in the long patience of winter. Here, in the red belly of the keep, that patience could become death. They crossed a gallery where lion tapestries watched them with woven golden eyes. The Lannisters had made the castle their den long before this night. Ned felt it in every carved griffin and every painted hunt. Even the air seemed to belong to them. At the junction near the kitchens, Renly lifted 2 fingers. His men stopped. A page scurried past, eyes wide at the sight of so many armed men where there should have been none. One of Renly's knights caught him gently by the collar and turned him back the way he came. The boy did not scream. He was too afraid to even breathe. Ned's stomach knotted. Fear spread faster than fire. They needed the Queen before the whispers became a roar. They reached the stair that led toward Maegor's Holdfast, the heart of the keep where kings hid their children and queens hid their schemes. The stair was narrow, built to be defended. 2 Lannister guards stood at the base, red cloaks draped over their shoulders like spilled blood. They straightened at the sight of Renly. My lord, one began, confusion softening his posture. The Queen. Renly did not answer him. He simply stepped forward, calm as sunrise, and said, in the king's name. His knights moved with him. Steel came free, not swinging, not grand, just present. The guards' hands went to their hilts. For a heartbeat, Ned tasted the edge of disaster. Then Tomard's knife flashed at the throat of one man, and the other found a mailed fist in his gut, driving the air from him in a grunt. Bind them, Ned said. No killing. Renly's eyes flicked toward him, sharp, then returned to the stair. The guards were dragged aside, wrists tied, mouths gagged with cloth. Their eyes rolled, furious and afraid. Ned did not look away. Every life saved tonight was a debt paid to whatever gods still watched this city. Up the stair they went, and with each step Ned's legs screamed. He clenched his jaw and let the pain steady him. Pain was honest. It did not flatter. It did not bargain. At the landing, the passage opened into a small hall with arrow slits and a heavy iron-bound door. Renly's knight knocked once. Not a request, a signal. The door opened from within. It was a man in green, one of Renly's household, stationed already inside like a spider in a web. "Two more at the inner turn," the man murmured. "And Ser Boros Blunt came past 10 minutes ago." He looked drunk. Renly's mouth twisted. Of course he did. Ned's eyes narrowed. A Kingsguard drunk in the castle at such an hour was not merely a shame. It was a hole in the wall. "Where is Ser Barristan?" he asked. "Not in the Holdfast," Renly said quietly. "He keeps to the White Sword Tower. He will come when he hears, or he will not." That was the truth of this night. Men revealed themselves under pressure, like seams in cloth. They took the inner turn. 2 more Lannister guards were there, but this time Renly's men did not offer surprise. They offered numbers. The guards backed, hands raised halfway, caught between duty and fear. One spat, red cloak trembling. "This is treason." "It is the king's justice," Ned said, and the words felt heavy, as if the castle itself resisted them. A door opened farther down the corridor. A serving woman stepped out, carrying a tray, and froze at the sight. Her eyes flitted to Ned's face, to Renly's, to the green cloaks. Her tray shook. A cup toppled, wine spilling in a dark line across stone. "Go," Ned told her, soft but firm. "Say nothing." She fled, skirts flying, leaving the wine like a sign. Ned watched it spread, slow as blood. They reached the queen's door. It was guarded, as expected, by men in red. Not many. Cersei trusted walls more than steel, and she trusted the city's softness more than any blade. Tonight those trusts would fail her. Renly lifted his hand. For a moment Ned thought he would speak, announce himself, demand entry like a lord with rights. Instead, Renly nodded once, and his knights surged. The first red cloak managed to draw half his sword before a green cloak slammed him into the wall. The second shouted, and his shout died in his throat beneath a mailed hand. The door shook under a ram's shoulder. Wood cracked. Iron hinges groaned. From within came a woman's voice, sharp as glass. "Who is there?" Ned felt his heart hammer. He thought of Catelyn, safe far away, and of the vows he had sworn. He thought of Robert, dying somewhere in the forest, laughing at a boar. The door gave way with a sound like a tree splitting. Torchlight spilled into the queen's chamber. And they went in. Cersei Lannister did not scream. That would have been easy. She stood beside her bed as if she had been waiting for them, crimson gown spilling like wine around her feet, hair loose over her shoulders, a thin gold chain at her throat. Her eyes were green and bright and utterly unafraid, as if fear were something that belonged to other women. Joffrey was nearer the window, pale in his silks, a dagger in his hand that looked too small to make him what he imagined himself to be. Myrcella and Tommen clung to each other, wide-eyed. Myrcella's lip trembled. Tommen's cheeks were wet. Ned's chest tightened at the sight, and he hated the city for dragging children into its dirt. Renly took a step forward. "Your Grace," he said, and his voice was formal, almost gentle. Cersei's gaze slid over him, taking in the green cloaks, the drawn steel, the broken door. Then it settled on Ned. "Lord Stark," she purred, as if he had come to share a cup of wine. "You've learned to walk again. How inspiring." Ned ignored the barb. "In the king's name, I place you under arrest," he said. The words tasted strange, too large for his mouth. "You and your children are to come with us." Joffrey's eyes flashed. "You can't," he snapped, voice cracking with fury. "I am the prince. I'll have you killed. I'll have your head on a spike." Ned looked at him, truly looked, and saw not a prince, but a boy poisoned by his own certainty. "No one will harm you," he said. But you will obey." Cersei laughed softly. "Hear that, Joffrey? The honorable Lord Stark offers you mercy as if it were coin." Her eyes never left Ned's. "And what do you offer me, my lord? Comfort? Kindness? A cell with a view?" "I offer you life," Ned said, "and a chance for the realm to survive what you've done." Renly's jaw tightened, but he held his tongue. Ned could feel him burning beside him, impatience wrapped in courtly restraint. Cersei's expression shifted, a flicker like a candle guttering in wind. "Robert is dead," she said lightly, "or dying, and you do this now? You choose the moment when the realm is weakest to grasp for power? Tell me, do your hands shake from grief or greed?" Ned's fingers tightened around his cane. "I do not grasp," he said. "I hold. For Stannis. For law." Cersei's smile sharpened. "Law." She tasted the word like something sour. "Law did not stop my father from taking this city. Law did not stop your friend from betting half the realm. Law is parchment, Lord Stark, and parchment burns." Joffrey moved as if to lunge, dagger raised. One of Renly's knights stepped between them, steel flashing, and Joffrey stopped short, white with rage. Tommen made a small sound, almost a whimper, and Myrcella pressed her face into his shoulder. Ned's gaze softened, just for a breath. He addressed the children, not the queen. "You are not prisoners," he said. "You are wards. You will be protected. You will be given food, warmth, anything you need. No one will lay a hand on you." Cersei's eyes narrowed. "How noble," she whispered. "You want them alive because you want them as chains." "No," Ned said, and his voice was rougher now. "I want them alive because they are children." For a moment the chamber held its breath. Candle flames trembled. Outside, somewhere, a bell rang once in the city, distant, meaningless, yet it sounded like an omen. Renly spoke then, stepping closer, his tone brisker. "Your Grace, there is no time. The castle will wake soon. Come quietly, and there will be no blood." Cersei's gaze flicked to him, contempt and calculation mingling. "And you, little brother, always so eager." Her mouth curved. "Tell me, is this your doing? Did you crawl to Lord Stark with your fears and beg him to save you from the wolves you helped feed?" Renly's face flushed, but he did not flinch. "I came to save the realm," he said. Cersei tilted her head. "You came to save yourself." Ned stepped forward as much as his leg allowed. "Enough," he said. "Wrap the children in cloaks. Bring them." Cersei's eyes flashed, but she did not resist when Renly's knights approached. She lifted her chin, queenly, and allowed herself to be escorted as if it were a procession. Myrcella took Tommen's hand. Joffrey's grip tightened on the dagger until his knuckles whitened. As they turned to leave, Cersei leaned close to Ned, so close he could smell her perfume, rose and something darker beneath. "You think you've won," she murmured, "but you have only opened a door, and what comes through it will drown you." Ned met her gaze. "Then I will drown," he said, "with my hands clean." Cersei's smile returned, slow and vicious. "No one drowns clean in this city." They led her out into the corridor, into the torchlight, into the night that was no longer hers. They moved through Maegor's Holdfast like thieves stealing a crown, except the crown was breathing and furious. Cersei's wrists were bound beneath her sleeves, hidden by silk and careful folds. Ned had ordered it so, no spectacle, no satisfaction for watching eyes. Yet Cersei carried herself as if she wore bracelets of gold, not iron. Her gaze swept the corridor, memorizing faces, counting steps, tasting power even in defeat. Joffrey fought the escort at every turn, twisting like a hooked fish, spitting threats at any man who dared touch him. Renly himself kept a hand on the prince's shoulder, firm as a vice, his voice low and controlled. "You will not make this worse," he murmured, and Ned could not tell whether the words were for Joffrey or for himself. Myrcella walked quietly, tears shining on her lashes. Tommen stumbled, looking back as if expecting his mother to vanish into shadow. When Ned saw Tommen's small fingers grip Myrcella's tighter, He felt something inside him crack, an old grief that never healed. At the lower stair, a kingsguard appeared. Ser Meryn Trant, heavy-jawed, eyes bleary, one hand on his sword. His white cloak looked stained in the torchlight, not with blood but with neglect. "What is this?" Trant demanded. His gaze darted to Cersei, to the children, to Ned. Confusion hardened into anger. "This is the Queen. It is the King's command," Ned said. He did not have Robert's voice, but he had Robert's authority, and he forced it into his tone like steel into a mold. Trant's eyes flicked to Renly, uncertainty flickering. Renly smiled without warmth.
"Stand aside, Ser Meryn."
Trant hesitated. His loyalty was a question with too many answers. The Kingsguard served the king, but the Queen had a way of making men believe she was the realm itself. Cersei spoke softly, sweet as poison.
"Ser Meryn."
"You will remember your vows." Trant swallowed. His hand tightened on his hilt. Ned's heart thudded. If steel came free here, in the narrow stair, blood would run like rainwater. He stepped forward, pain flaring in his leg, and met Trant's eyes. "Your vows are to the king," he said, "to protect his children. That is what we are doing. No harm will come to them. Help us and you keep your vows. Oppose us, and you break them." Trant's jaw worked. His gaze slid to Joffrey, who glared at him with the fury of a boy who believed the world was his. Trant's eyes held the prince's for a heartbeat, then fell away. He stepped aside, stiff and resentful, allowing them passage. They descended into the lower halls, closer to the heart of the keep where the walls were thicker and the air colder. At every corner Ned expected steel, expected betrayal. He had lived in castles his whole life, but he had never walked one that felt like a trap built by smiling hands. When they reached the guarded chamber Renly had chosen, a suite in a secure wing, away from windows, away from the Ravenry. Renly's men opened the door and ushered them inside. The room was rich but spare, meant for a visiting lord, not a queen. A fire burned low. Candles flickered. Cersei paused at the threshold, eyes scanning, assessing. "A cage," she said, voice amused. "How thoughtful." "It is protection," Ned replied, and he believed it as much as he could. Joffrey yanked against Renly's grip. "Mother," he began, voice shaking with fury and fear. Cersei turned to him, and for a moment the mask slipped. Ned saw the mother beneath the queen, the lioness beneath the crown. Her gaze softened just enough to terrify him. "Be still," she said to Joffrey, low and fierce. "Remember who you are." Joffrey's chest heaved. He swallowed his anger, swallowing it like a blade. Tommen pressed closer to Myrcella, and Myrcella stared at Ned with an expression too old for her face, as if she understood more than she should. Ned turned away before compassion could become weakness. He spoke to Renly, voice low. "Post men at every door. No one enters without my word." Renly nodded. "Already done." From the corridor came distant footsteps. Running. The keep was waking. Rumor was a living thing, and it had been fed. Ned looked at Cersei Lannister standing in the firelight, unbowed, and felt the realm tilt beneath his feet. He had made his choice. Now he would pay for it. They convened what council they could summon at that hour, not in the usual chamber with its long table and painted map, but in a smaller room off the Tower of the Hand where the walls pressed close and secrets clung like dust. Ned sat because his leg demanded it, but he sat like a man who refused to be diminished. The cane lay across his knees. Renly stood behind him, restless as a drawn bow. Grand Maester Pycelle arrived first, blinking like an owl disturbed in daylight, chains clinking as if he brought the Citadel's judgment in each link. "My lords," he wheezed, eyes darting. "There are disturbances, doors broken, guards bound. The Queen is safe," Ned cut in. "Under the King's authority." Pycelle's lips pursed. "The King is not here." Ned's gaze held him. "The King is alive, and I am his hand." Pycelle's old eyes flickered, calculating, then lowered. He did not argue further, but Ned could feel his disapproval like a draft. Peter Baelish arrived with a smile that did not reach his eyes. "Well," he said lightly, as if stepping into a feast, "this is unexpected. I leave the city for an hour and you redecorate." "You were not summoned," Ned said. "And yet here I am," Baelish replied, unbothered. He glanced at Renly, grin widening. "Ah, that explains it. Green cloaks in the hall. The young stag has decided to stop being charming and begin being dangerous." Renly's eyes narrowed. "Speak carefully, Baelish." Varys came last, quiet as a shadow sliding between torch flames. He bowed, hands folded over his belly, expression sorrowful. "My lords," he murmured, "what a dreadful night. The castle is full of frightened whispers." "Then we must give it a voice," Ned said. Baelish leaned against the table as if he owned it. "And what voice will that be?" "Sleep easy, good people. The hand has stolen the queen in the night?" Ned's jaw tightened. "You will not twist this." "I twist nothing," Baelish said, eyes bright. "I merely note what the city will believe. And the city believes what it is paid to believe." He tapped his fingers on the table. "Have you purchased the gold cloaks, my lord? Or are you trusting in honor to hold a gate?" Ned looked at him, and the urge to strike him rose hot and sudden. Renly's warning echoed. "Do not let Baelish touch this." Yet the city watch was the city's spine. If it broke, everything fell. "We will speak to Janos Slynt," Ned said. Baelish's smile sharpened. "You will speak and he will listen and then he will count. He counts better than any man in this room." Varys's soft voice slipped in like a knife into cloth. "Captain Slynt is practical," he said. "He goes where the wind blows strongest." Renly scoffed. "Then we make our wind stronger." Pycelle cleared his throat. "The king, his grace, if he returns and finds the queen imprisoned." He trailed off, shaking his head. "It is unprecedented. Her crimes are unprecedented," Ned said, and his voice grew colder. "She has committed treason. She has placed bastard children on the throne. She has lied to the realm." Baelish raised his brows as if amused by a new song. "Big words, dangerous words." He leaned closer, voice silky. "Do you have proof, my lord? Proof that can stand against a lion's roar?" Ned's mind flashed to the book Jon Arryn had read until it killed him, to Gendry's black hair, to Robert's bastards scattered like seeds. Proof was never enough in King's Landing, not without power behind it. "We have enough," Ned said. Varys tilted his head. "Enough to begin a war, perhaps," he murmured. "Not always enough to win one." Renly's hands clenched. "We did not come here to debate philosophy." Baelish chuckled. "No, you came to move pieces. How refreshing." His gaze slid to Ned. "If you want the gold cloaks, you will need coin. Lots of it." "You have coin?" Ned's face hardened. "I have the king's authority." Baelish sighed dramatically. "Authority does not fill purses." Then, softly, with a hint of sincerity that made Ned uneasy, "But I can help. I can bring Slynt. I can make him understand." Renly's eyes flashed at Ned, warning made flesh. Ned held Baelish's gaze and saw the gleam beneath the charm, the hunger that never slept. "No," Ned said. "You will not." Baelish's smile faltered for the first time, then returned, smaller. "As you wish." His voice was smooth, but something sharp moved beneath it. "You will have your honor. I hope it keeps you warm when the knives come." A knock sounded at the door. Hard.
Urgent.
A guard entered, breathless. "My lord Hand," he said. "A rider has come from the kingswood. The king, there's been an accident. He's hurt. They're bringing him back." The room froze. Even Baelish's smile slipped into stillness. Ned felt his heart drop, heavy as stone. This was the moment, the hinge, the realm turning on a pin. Renly's face tightened, eyes bright with something that might have been fear or fierce relief. "How long?" "Before dawn," the guard said. "Maybe sooner." Ned rose, pain lancing through his leg. He gripped his cane until his knuckles whitened. Then we must be ready. Varys's gaze lingered on Ned, sorrowful and unreadable. The night grows colder, he whispered. And somewhere in the castle, like the first crack of ice on a lake, the sound of shouting began. The courtyard smelled of damp stone and horse sweat, and torches made the air shimmer with heat. The Gold Cloaks stood in loose formation, spears upright, faces half hidden beneath their helmets. They did not look like an army. They looked like men waiting to see who would pay them first. Janos Slynt stood at their front, thick-necked, broad in the belly, his black and gold armor polished as if he hoped shine could make him noble. His eyes were small and sharp, like a rat's. When he saw Ned, his mouth curved in something that might have been respect if it were not so hungry. "My Lord Hand," Slynt said, bowing just enough to pretend. "Some excitement in the castle tonight." Ned did not waste words. "You will secure the gates," he said. "No one leaves without my command. No one enters without my command. The Queen is in custody by the King's authority." The word custody landed like a stone thrown into a pond. Ripples of murmurs moved through the Gold Cloaks. Slynt's brows rose. "In custody," he repeated slowly, tasting it. His gaze drifted to Renly, then back to Ned. "That's bold." "It is necessary," Ned said. Slynt scratched at his jaw. "Necessary for who, my lord?" His smile was a knife drawn halfway. "For the realm? For the king? Or for you?" Renly stepped forward, voice hard. "Mind your tongue." Slynt's eyes flickered to Renly's green-cloaked knights. He did not like seeing steel that was not his own. "I mind my tongue," he said. "But I also mind my men. They like their wages. They like knowing who is in charge." Ned felt the trap closing. Slynt was not asking for information. He was asking for certainty, and certainty was what King's Landing denied honest men. "The king is in charge," Ned said. "And by his hand I am." Slynt chuckled softly. "The king is out in the woods with boars, my lord. The king is not here. The queen is here. The prince is here." His eyes gleamed. "Men like to stand near the sun." Ned's voice dropped. "If you betray your duty, you will answer for it." Slynt's smile widened, showing teeth. "I'm a simple man, Lord Stark. I do my duty as I understand it. And I understand coin." He glanced past Ned, toward the shadows beneath an archway where a figure leaned casually. Peter Baelish, hands folded, watching like a cat. Ned's stomach turned. He had ordered Baelish not to touch this, and yet Baelish was here, as inevitable as rot. Baelish's smile was mild, almost apologetic, as if to say, "You see? I told you." Renly's hand moved toward his sword, but Ned lifted a palm, stopping him. Steel would solve nothing here. Steel would only reveal weakness.
Net met Slynt's gaze.
"The crown will pay you," he said. Slynt's brows rose again. "The crown," he echoed. "And who wears it tomorrow, my lord?" Ned's mind flashed to Stannis on Dragonstone, hard as iron, unloved. To Renly beside him, beloved, hungry. To Joffrey, cruel and bright. The realm was a bowl of wolves, and the crown was meat. "Stannis Baratheon is the rightful heir," Ned said, forcing the words into the night like a stake into the ground. "By law." Slynt's smile faltered for a heartbeat, then returned, sharper. "Stannis," he said, and the name sounded like a curse on his tongue. "A stern man, a poor friend to those who bend." He leaned closer, voice low. "Does Stannis pay well?" Renly's laugh was harsh. "He pays injustice." Slynt's eyes slid to Renly. "Justice doesn't buy a new house for my wife." Ned felt something inside him harden. He had tried to do this clean. King's Landing refused cleanliness like it refused truth. He could not buy Slynt with promises. He could not charm him. He had only one weapon left, fear of consequences. "You will secure the gates," Ned said, voice steady, "or you will be removed. Tonight." Slynt stared at him. The Gold Cloaks shifted, spears tilting slightly, like grass in wind. Then Baelish spoke softly from the shadows. "Captain," he said, almost kindly. Lord Stark means what he says. Slynt's gaze flicked to him, annoyance mixed with calculation. Do I? He asked, as if the question were coin itself. Baelish stepped into torchlight, smile bright. You do, he said, and you are wise. Wisdom keeps men alive. Ned's jaw tightened. Baelish was helping, yes, but in the way a spider helps a fly find the web. Slynt's eyes narrowed. He looked from Ned to Renly to Baelish, weighing them like a butcher weighing meat. At last he nodded slowly. Very well, he said. For tonight, the gates are yours, my lord hand. Relief did not come. Ned knew better than to trust a man who said for tonight. Tonight was all King's Landing ever promised. As Slynt barked orders and the Gold Cloaks moved, Baelish drifted closer to Ned. Voice a whisper meant only for him. See, he murmured. A little coin, a little fear. The city is simple once you understand it. Ned did not look at him. Stay away from my business, he said. Baelish's smile did not change. Your business is the realm, he whispered, and the realm is mine to play with. Ned's hands tightened on his cane until pain grounded him. Dawn was coming, and with it the king. They heard him before they saw him, the shouts of guards clearing the way, the frantic hoofbeats, the ragged cries of men too afraid to pretend courage. When the gates opened, torchlight spilled out like molten gold, and the litter came through, borne by 4 men whose arms shook with strain. On it lay Robert Baratheon, who had once been a storm given flesh, who had once laughed louder than any hall could hold. Now his laughter was gone. His face was gray beneath the torchlight, sweat shining on his brow. Blood darkened the leather at his side. His eyes were half-lidded, unfocused, and his breaths came in wet, dragging pulls as if each one scraped his ribs raw. Barristan Selmy walked beside him in his white cloak, hair silver, face carved from sorrow. He looked older than Ned had ever seen him, as if the sight of a dying king aged him years in a single night. Behind Barristan came Ser Boros Blunt, red-faced and blinking, and Ser Meryn Trant, jaw-clenched. Men of the Kingsguard, and yet the only true guard Robert had ever trusted was the strength of his own body, and that was failing. Ned stepped forward, heart heavy. He had imagined this moment too many times, had feared it, had tried to prevent it, and still it came, unstoppable as winter. Robert, Ned said, and his voice caught on the name. Robert's eyes fluttered open. For a heartbeat, recognition sparked, faint as a coal. Ned, he rasped, the word dragging through pain. You're still here. Always, Ned said. Robert tried to grin, but it turned into a grimace. Bloody boar, he whispered. Took me like a bloody fool. Ned's throat tightened. He wanted to say you were never a fool, but Robert had been many things. He had been brave, reckless, kind in his own careless way. He had been king, and now he was dying. Renly stepped in, face tight with controlled emotion. Brother, he said softly, you're back. Robert's gaze flicked to him, unfocused. Renly, he breathed, and for a moment the old warmth returned, dim and distant. Where's Cersei? The name hit like a dropped axe. Men shifted. Barristan's gaze sharpened. The castle held its breath. Ned met Robert's eyes and did not flinch. Safe, he said. In custody. Robert's brow furrowed, confusion cutting through pain. Custody? He rasped, and then anger flared, sudden and fierce despite the weakness in his limbs. What have you done? Ned leaned closer, voice low, urgent, pouring truth into the small space they had left. What you told me to do, he said, to protect the realm, to protect your... He stopped because the word children tasted like betrayal. To protect the succession. Robert's breath hitched. Pain twisted his features. Ned, he growled, and his fingers twitched as if reaching for a hammer that was no longer there. Don't play games. There are no games, Ned said. Only lies, and I will not let them crown a lie. Barristan Selmy's gaze flicked from Ned to Renly, then back. His hand hovered near his sword, not drawn, but ready. He was a man built of duty, and duty was being pulled in two directions like cloth over a rack. Robert's eyes narrowed. "Cersei in chains?" he rasped. "In guard," Ned corrected. "Hidden."
"No humiliation."
Robert coughed, and the cough brought blood to his lips. He spat it angry. "Good," he murmured, surprising Ned. "Good." Then his face twisted with something like grief. "Should've done it years ago." Ned felt the world shift. Robert knew, or half knew, in the way dying men know truths they refused in life. "Bring him inside," Barristan commanded, voice steady, and the litter moved again. As they passed beneath the archway into the keep, Ned walked beside Robert, limping, refusing to fall behind. Renly stayed close, green cloak brushing the litter's edge. Robert's eyes fluttered, and he whispered, almost to himself, "Lyanna." The name was a ghost between them. Then, louder, with sudden ferocity, "My son," he rasped. "Joffrey, where is my son?" Ned's heart clenched. He did not answer immediately. He could not yet, not with so many ears. Robert's gaze fixed on him, suddenly sharp. "Ned," he demanded, breath ragged. "Promise me." "I will protect the realm," Ned said, and the vow tasted like iron. Robert's eyes softened for a heartbeat, and in that softening Ned saw the boy who had been his friend before crowns and wars ruined everything. Then the doors closed behind them, sealing the dying king within red stone walls, and the castle's torches burned as if trying to keep the dark out. They laid Robert in his bed as if laying a mountain down, careful and reverent. Yet the bed seemed too small for him even now. The chamber was hot with candles and bodies, the air thick with the smell of blood and herbs and fear disguised as duty. A maester, Pycelle's assistants, pale boys with shaking hands, pressed cloth to Robert's wound and whispered prayers as if prayers could stitch flesh. Robert groaned, a sound low and animal, and his fingers clenched the furs until they bunched like storm clouds. Ned stood at the bedside, parchment in his hand, wax and seal ready. He had written these words before, under calmer light, imagining a king who could still hold a quill. Now Robert could barely lift his head. Barristan Selmy stood near the foot of the bed, hands clasped, eyes fixed forward. He looked like a man guarding not a king but the very idea of kingship, trying to keep it from dying with the flesh. Renly hovered near the door, restless, eyes cutting to every shadow. Ned leaned in close, voice low. "Robert," he said, "listen to me." Robert's eyes fluttered open. "Ned," he rasped. "You asked me to promise you," Ned said. "I will, but you must give me your command. Your will." He held the parchment. "This will name your heir and prevent blood." Robert tried to laugh, and it turned into a cough. Blood flecked his beard. "Blood," he wheezed. "There's always blood." "Not if you speak now," Ned said. Robert's gaze fixed on the parchment, then on Ned's face. "Read," he said, voice rough. Ned read, each word a stone laid on a grave. He named Stannis Baratheon. He spoke of lawful succession. He spoke of regency until the realm was steady. He did not speak the bastardy aloud, not yet. Not with the room full of men who might kill for half a sentence. When he finished, Robert's eyes were heavy, but something like understanding flickered. "Seal it," Robert whispered. "Do it." Ned's fingers moved, wax melting, the seal pressed. The act felt like a prayer and a sentence both. Commotion stirred at the door. Renly turned sharply. "What now?" Two of Renly's knights entered, escorting Cersei Lannister. She walked into the king's chamber as if she belonged there, wrists still bound beneath her sleeves, chin lifted. Her eyes went to Robert, and for a heartbeat something flickered. Shock, perhaps, or grief, quickly smothered. Then her gaze snapped to Ned, burning. Robert's eyes opened wider at the sight of her, and something ancient and bitter rose in him. "Cersei," he rasped. "Your Grace," she said softly. "You are hurt." Robert's eyes narrowed, and for a moment the old king returned, not strong in body but fierce in spirit. Hurt, he wheezed. Is that what you call it? After all you've done, hurt. Cersei's gaze did not waver. I have done what I must, she said. Robert coughed, and the sound was wet and ugly. Ned felt the air tighten, felt the room bracing for words that could burn kingdoms. Ned stepped in, voice steady. Your Grace, he said. I have placed the Queen in custody to protect the realm. The children are safe. Cersei's smile was thin. Safe, she echoed. In the hands of men who break doors in the night. Robert's gaze fixed on her, and the room seemed to shrink under the weight of his stare. Are they mine? He demanded, the words tearing out of him. Silence crashed down. Even the candles seemed to dim. Cersei's eyes glittered. How dare you? She whispered, and the outrage was perfect, practiced. Robert's mouth twisted. Answer, he growled. Cersei's gaze slid to Ned. This is your doing, she said softly, venom beneath every syllable. You fill his head with poison and call it truth. Ned held her gaze. The truth needs no poison, he said. Robert's hand twitched on the furs, as if seeking a weapon. Answer, he rasped again, and the word was command. Cersei's face hardened. They are my children, she said. That is all you need to know. Robert's eyes blazed. Not good enough, he snarled, and then the strength left him in a tremor, pain dragging him back toward weakness. He groaned, clutching his side. Barristan stepped forward, voice firm, almost pleading. Your Grace, you must rest. Robert's eyes squeezed shut. Ned, he whispered, breath ragged. Promise me. The realm. Ned leaned close, voice low. I swear, he said, by the old gods and the new. Cersei watched, eyes cold, and Ned knew she was not beaten. Not yet. A lion did not stop fighting because it was caged. It waited for the bars to bend. Outside, somewhere in the castle, a bell rang. Dawn was near, and in that chamber, under candlelight and blood, the war for the crown took its first true breath. They removed Cersei from Robert's chamber before the rage could kill him faster than the wound. She went without struggle, which frightened Ned more than any scream. She had always been most dangerous when calm. Back in the guarded suite, she sat with her hands folded, wrists still bound beneath fabric, hair braided now by a serving girl whose fingers shook. Cersei watched the girl as if watching prey, and when the braid was done, she dismissed her with a glance. Ned stood by the hearth, warmth on his face, cold in his bones. Renly paced like a caged animal, boots striking stone in impatient rhythm. We must move, Renly hissed, voice low, before the city wakes fully, before Tywin hears, before Joffrey is crowned by some madman with a bell. He will not be crowned, Ned said. Renly stopped, eyes blazing. And how will you stop it? With law? With parchment? With your honorable frown? He jabbed a finger towards Cersei. She will not sit quietly. She will send word. She will offer gold. She will offer marriages. She will offer bodies. Men will listen. Ned's jaw tightened. Then we hold the castle, he said. We hold the gates. We present Robert's will. We call the lords to witness. Barristan will stand with us. Renly's laugh was bitter. Barristan will stand with whoever sits the throne. He's a good man. Good men kneel. That's what they do. Ned's heart sank. This was it, the crack in the wall, the place where the realm would split. It was not Cersei alone. It was not Joffrey. It was brothers. It was pride. It was the old story repeating itself with new names. Varys's voice slipped in, gentle. Perhaps, he murmured, you might both consider that the realm will not accept what it does not understand. Stannis is law, yes. Renly is love, yes. But love without law is chaos, and law without love is brittle. Baelish chuckled. Poetry, he said. Lovely. Ned ignored him. He looked at Renly, and he softened his voice just a little. If you break now, he said, you make yourself a usurper. You make this bloodier. You make Cersei's lie stronger. Renly's eyes flickered. something like doubt crossing them. Then he looked away, jaw clenched. "I won't die for your principles," he muttered. Ned's hands tightened on his cane. "Then don't," he said. "Live for the realm." Outside, the first true sounds of morning began. Distant voices, footsteps, the castle waking like a beast stretching its limbs. Somewhere a raven croaked. Cersei sat in her chair, calm as a blade laid on velvet, and Ned realized with a cold certainty that the hardest part of this night was not capturing her. It was holding what they had taken. By the time the great hall began to fill, the sky beyond the high windows had turned the color of old bruises, and the torches felt too bright, too desperate. Courtiers gathered in clusters, murmuring like birds before a storm. Lords in half-fastened doublets, ladies with hair uncombed, faces painted with worry. Men who had slept through war and woke now to find it in their hall. The gold cloaks lined the walls, spears upright. Renly's men stood among them like green thorns. The air was thick with smoke and sweat and the sharp scent of fear. Ned stood at the foot of the Iron Throne, not on it, never on it. The black blades rose behind him like a jagged forest. He held the sealed parchment in his hand, Robert's will, wax-stamped with the crowned stag. The seal felt warm, as if it carried the last heat of Robert's life. Barristan Selmy stood to one side, white cloak draped like snow, eyes unreadable. He had not drawn his sword. He had not declared. But he was here, and his presence was a pillar in a shaking hall. Renly stood on the other side, shoulders squared, face hard. He looked like Robert's brother and Robert's rival all at once. When Cersei entered under guard, the murmurs swelled, then died. She walked with regal composure, as if she were arriving to court, not captivity. Joffrey stalked beside her, eyes bright with fury, lip curled. Myrcella clung to Tommen's hand, both pale and frightened. Ned's heart clenched at their faces. Then he forced it down. Mercy without strength was only a wish. He raised the parchment. "Lords of the realm," he said, voice carrying in the smoky air. "His Grace, King Robert Baratheon, lies wounded. He has named his lawful heir and commanded that the peace of the realm be kept." A ripple moved through the hall. Faces tightened. Some glanced toward Cersei, others toward Renly, as if searching for the wind's direction. Cersei's gaze met Ned's, calm and contemptuous. Ned broke the seal. The sound of wax cracking was small. In that hall, it sounded like thunder. He began to read, and as the words fell from his mouth, law, succession, duty, he could feel the realm shifting beneath them all, like ice beginning to break under too many feet. The words did not feel like Ned's, though they came from his mouth. They belonged to Robert's stubborn heart and the realm's brittle laws, and as Ned read them, he could feel every syllable strike the hall and scatter into 1,000 different meanings. Some heard justice, some heard treason, some heard the end of comfort. The great hall breathed like a creature cornered. Candles guttered in their sconces, throwing nervous shadows across the black teeth of the Iron Throne. When Ned spoke Stannis Baratheon's name, a low ripple moved through the crowd, an almost imperceptible shiver, as if the air itself had turned colder. Renly's face tightened by a fraction, a blink of the eye that Ned caught and hated. Barristan Selmy did not move at all, but his gaze sharpened, and in that gaze Ned felt the weight of a sword that had not yet left its sheath. Cersei Lannister stood as if the guards were ornament, not restraint. Her mouth curved faintly, not in surrender, but in amused contempt. Joffrey's stare burned through the hall, hot enough to set parchment alight. Ned finished the last line. His voice did not tremble. He lowered the parchment and held it up so the wax seal could be seen by every eye. "This is the king's command," he said. "By law and by oath, we will obey it." For a heartbeat, silence held. Then Joffrey moved, a sudden snapping motion like a whip cracking. He stepped forward, chest thrust out, face flushed with fury. "That paper means nothing," he spat. My father named me his heir." Cersei's gaze slid to her son, and her expression softened into something deadly. "Joffrey, she murmured, low and sweet, and the single word steadied him like a hand on a hound's collar. Ned met the prince's eyes. "Your grace is mistaken," he said, careful with the title, as if holding a lit ember. "The king named his rightful heir. You will be treated as a ward of the crown until the matter is settled." Joffrey laughed, high and sharp. "A ward? I am the king. I am the king." His voice rose, cracking on the last word. "You're a traitor. You and my uncle. You broke into my mother's rooms like thieves." A woman gasped in the crowd. A lord shifted, uncomfortable. Several eyes darted toward the gold cloaks along the walls, reading their posture the way men read weather. Cersei's voice carried without strain. "Lord Stark," she said, "you abuse a dying man's weakness. You bring armed men into the castle and seize his wife and children in the night. You stand before his throne with forged words and call it law." Ned felt the hall lean toward her, if only by the breadth of a breath. The queen's voice was honey poured over rot. It made lies taste sweet. He lifted Robert's seal again. "This is not forged," he said. "This seal is his. His grace commanded it before witnesses." "Witnesses," Cersei echoed. "His brother who would steal the crown. His hand, who would deliver it to a man who has never been loved by the realm." She smiled, thin as a blade. "Would you have us believe Stannis Baratheon is coming to save us? Stannis, who hides on Dragonstone like a scowling gargoyle, counting every perceived slight." A few chuckles flickered, nervous and quick, dying under the weight of the moment. Ned's fingers tightened on the parchment. "Enough," he said, and his voice cut through her sweetness. "This is not a contest of charm. It is a matter of succession." Joffrey surged forward again, and this time one of Renly's knights stepped in his path, hand on sword. The movement was small, but it made a sound in the hall like steel whispering. The crowd flinched. Even the torches seemed to shrink back. Joffrey's eyes went wide with outrage. "Touch me," he hissed. "Touch me and I'll have your hand." "Prince Joffrey," Barristan Selmy said. His voice was calm, but the calm was terrifying. It fell over the hall like a cloak. Barristan stepped forward a pace, white as snowfall against the red stone, and every man who had ever heard his name felt his spine straighten. Joffrey's mouth tightened. "Ser Barristan." "The king's will has been read," Barristan said. "You will show restraint." Joffrey's lips curled. "You serve me. I serve the crown," Barristan replied, and the words were a line drawn in bloodless snow. Cersei's gaze narrowed, a flicker of irritation cracking her composure. "Ser Barristan," she said softly, "you have known my husband for years. Would he truly name Stannis over his own son?" Barristan's face did not change. "The king named his heir," he said. "My duty is to obey." For the first time, uncertainty flickered across the hall like a wind shifting direction. Men looked at Barristan Selmy and saw not politics, but a pillar. If he stood with Ned, then Ned's parchment became heavier than any whisper. Joffrey's face went red. "He's dying," he spat. "He's dying and you're all." Ned lifted his hand. "The king lives," he said, and his voice was iron. "And while he lives, his will stands. This hall will disperse. The gates will be secured. No one leaves without permission. Those who would spread panic will answer for it." There were murmurs again, sharper now, edged with fear. Cersei watched Ned as if watching a man walk onto thin ice. Her smile returned, slow and knowing. Ned felt it then. Not triumph, not relief, but the tight, cold sensation of a trap that had not yet sprung. The realm had heard Robert's will. Now it would decide whether to honor it or tear it apart. Barristan Selmy moved again. Not hurried, not dramatic, simply inevitable, like the turn of a wheel. "I will speak plain," he said, and the hall stilled. "His grace is wounded. The realm must not fracture in panic. No man here will draw steel in this hall. No man will declare himself king while King Robert still draws breath." Joffrey took a step forward, defiant. "You can't stop me," Barristan looked at him, and in that look there was no hatred, no insult. Only a clear, appraising judgment, as if weighing a blade for flaws. "I can," he said. The simplicity of it struck like a slap. Cersei's voice cut in silky. "Ser Barristan, you would threaten the king's son?" "I would protect the realm from madness," Barristan replied. "If you would call that a threat, so be it." A lord in the crowd shifted, murmuring to his neighbor. A lady covered her mouth with her fingers. Men's eyes went to the gold cloaks again, reading them, searching for betrayal in the angle of a spear. Ned felt a surge of something like gratitude, sharp enough to hurt. He had expected Barristan to choose the safest oath, the most comfortable lie. Instead, he had chosen the hardest thing, truth and the burden of enforcing it. Renly leaned close to Ned, voice low. "If Barristan stands with us, we can hold this," he murmured. Ned did not answer. Holding it was not the same as winning. Joffrey's face tightened, rage struggling with fear. He glanced at his mother, seeking direction. Cersei's gaze held his, steadying him with an unspoken command. "Do not show weakness." Joffrey lifted his chin. "My father would never." Barristan's voice cut across him, firm. "Then you will go to his bedside and ask him." Silence fell so sharply it seemed to ring. Cersei's eyes flashed. "He is not fit." "He is fit enough to name his heir," Barristan said, and there was no softness now. "If you would claim otherwise, you cast doubt on your own argument." Cersei's mouth tightened, a brief crack in her perfect control. Her gaze slid to Ned, cold and narrow, and in that gaze Ned saw the moment she made a new plan. Plans were all she had left. Ned raised the parchment again. "Ser Barristan will join me," he said. "We will go to the king. The queen and her children remain under guard. The gates remain secured." A voice rose from the crowd. An older man, a minor lord, face flushed. "This is madness," he protested. "We're being held like prisoners in our own castle." Ned's gaze fixed on him. "You are being protected," he said. "If you cannot understand the difference, then you are more dangerous than you know." The man fell silent, swallowing. Barristan turned slightly, addressing the hall like a commander addressing soldiers. "Return to your chambers," he ordered. "Do not send ravens. Do not dispatch riders. Wait for the king's word. Those who disobey will be treated as enemies of the crown." The authority in his voice was not borrowed. It was earned over decades of blood and oath. Slowly, reluctantly, the hall began to empty. Courtiers drifted away like smoke, whispering behind sleeves, eyes bright with fear and hunger for gossip. The gold cloaks held their spears steady. Renly's men watched everything. Cersei did not move. She stood rooted, gaze fixed on Ned as the crowd thinned around them. When only the essential remained, guards, knights, the hardcore of power, she spoke again, softer. "You think you've chained me," she murmured, "but you've only shown the realm you are willing to use force. Men will remember that." Ned held her gaze. "Let them," he said. "I would rather be remembered for force than for cowardice." Cersei's smile returned, faint and dreadful. "Then you will be remembered," she promised. Barristan stepped closer to Ned. "We must go," he said quietly. Ned nodded, and together they turned away from the Iron Throne, leaving it empty, a jagged seat waiting for blood. The king's chamber was dimmer than before, the candles lowered as if the light itself had grown weary of watching a man die. Robert lay propped against furs, skin slick with sweat, bandages wrapped tight around his ribs. His breaths were shallow, but his eyes were open, glassy with pain. When Ned entered, Robert's gaze latched onto him with stubborn focus, like a drowning man grabbing a rope.
"Ned," Robert rasped.
What is it now?" Barristan Selmy knelt beside the bed, head bowed. "Your Grace," he said, and the respect in his voice was absolute. Robert's gaze flicked to him. "Barristan," he wheezed. "You're still alive. Good. Someone should be." Ned forced a faint smile that died before it reached his eyes. "We brought you your will," he said. "The hall has heard it. There is unrest." Robert's mouth twisted. "Of course there is." He tried to shift and groaned, pain stealing his breath. "Cersei," he whispered. She's screaming, isn't she?" "She is contained," Ned said. Robert's eyes narrowed, fever and fury mixing. "Is Joffrey screaming too?" "Yes," Renly said from the door, voice tight. Loudly, Robert coughed, then laughed. A harsh, broken bark. "That boy," he whispered. "That boy." His laughter became a cough again, blood flecking his lips. Grand Maester Pycelle hovered near a cup of milk of the poppy, eyes watery. "Your Grace," he urged. "You must drink. The pain." Robert batted weakly at the cup. "No," he growled. "Not yet." He fixed his gaze on Ned. "They're saying I named Stannis." "You did," Ned said. "Before witnesses. I sealed it." Robert's eyes squeezed shut, and for a moment his face looked less like a king and more like a tired man who had worn a crown like a burden he never wanted. "Stannis," he whispered. "Always hated him. Always." He opened his eyes again, sharp despite the fever. "But he's the law."
Ned leaned closer.
"Say it again," he urged. "For Barristan. For those who doubt." Robert's gaze snapped to him, irritation flaring. "I'm not a bloody parrot," he rasped. Barristan's voice was gentle, but firm. "Your Grace," he said. "The realm stands on your word. If you wish peace, you must speak." Robert's nostrils flared. He stared at Barristan Selmy for a long moment, then at Ned, then at Renly. Something like grim acceptance settled on him. "Fine," he growled. He swallowed, face contorting with pain. "Stannis is my heir." Each word seemed to cost him blood. "By law. By right." Ned felt relief so sharp it hurt. He glanced at Barristan, and Barristan nodded once, slow and solemn. A witness, pillar. Robert's gaze drifted, unfocused. "Ned," he whispered, voice dropping. "Cersei. The children." Ned's throat tightened. "They are safe," he said quickly. "I swore it." Robert's eyes flickered, something raw and wounded beneath the fever. "They're not mine," he breathed, and the words came out like confession and curse. "Not mine." Pycelle made a small sound, almost a whine, as if scandal itself wounded him. Renly's face tightened, but he did not speak. Barristan Selmy's eyes widened slightly, the first crack in his composure. Robert clenched the furs, knuckles white. "She lied," he rasped. "She lied." He swallowed, breath ragged. "Ned, don't let them crown that lion's whelp." "I won't," Ned said, voice rough. "I swear it." Robert's eyes held his for a moment, fierce and pleading. Then the fierceness drained, leaving exhaustion. "Good," he whispered. "Good." His gaze drifted toward the ceiling, as if searching for something beyond stone. "Lyanna." Ned swallowed hard. Pycelle thrust the cup forward again. "Your Grace," he begged. Robert's eyes fluttered. He did not fight this time. He drank, a few sips, and the poppy's mercy began to soften his face. As Robert's eyelids drooped, Barristan rose, his expression carved from solemnity. "You have spoken," he said quietly, to Ned and Renly both. "I will hold to it." Renly exhaled, the sound sharp. "Then we must hold the city," he murmured. Ned looked at Robert sleeping under Poppy's veil, and he felt the cold truth settle in his bones. They were now racing not just against Cersei's schemes, but against time itself. Every minute Robert lingered alive was a thread holding the realm together. When it snapped, everything would fall. Outside the king's chamber, the corridor felt colder, as if the poppy's sweetness could not cross the threshold. Renly turned on Ned the moment the door shut, green cloak sweeping like a banner. "You heard him," he hissed. "He hates Stannis, but he named him. Fine. The realm will not love it. We have to make it palatable, or it will tear itself apart. Ned's leg ached, a steady, punishing beat. We will follow the law, he said. Renly's eyes flashed. Law? He spat, as if the word burned. Law didn't keep Aerys from burning men alive. Law didn't keep Robert from drowning in wine and lust. Law won't keep Tywin Lannister from marching when he hears his daughter is caged. We send for Stannis, Ned said. We hold the queen. We hold the children. Tywin will think twice. Renly laughed, bitter. Tywin never thinks twice. He thinks once and men die. He leaned closer, voice low. If you want a lever, you need something stronger than parchment. You need allies. I can bring them. Ned met his eyes. The Tyrells, he said. Renly's jaw tightened. Yes, the Reach. Food. Men. Gold. He lowered his voice further. If Stannis comes with his justice and no charm, he will make enemies before he reaches the city gates. If I come with the Reach at my back, the realm will bend. We could keep Stannis as heir and still have the realm stable if we act like men who understand people. Ned felt the ground beneath them shift again, subtle as a knife sliding under ribs. And where do you place yourself in this stability? He asked. Renly's gaze held his, unblinking. As regent, he said simply. As protector of the realm until Stannis arrives, and perhaps after. Someone the lords will follow without choking on bitterness. Someone who can keep Tywin from burning the Riverlands just to make a point. Ned felt his heart lurch. The idea was dangerous, but not entirely without sense. The realm needed a hand to guide it through the first chaos. Yet giving Renly that title was like placing a hungry man beside a feast. You would accept it, Ned said, voice low. Renly did not deny it. Yes, he said, because I will not die in this castle while you cling to purity. Ned held his gaze, and in Renly's eyes he saw not simple ambition, but fear braided with determination. Renly had lived in his brother's shadow. Now the shadow was fading, and the light that came with it was harsh and unforgiving. I will not crown you, Ned said. Renly's face hardened. I did not ask for a crown, he said. I asked for a shield. Varys' soft voice drifted in like silk. A regency, he murmured, is a delicate thing. The realm remembers regencies. They do not always end kindly. Renly's eyes cut toward Varys. And what would you suggest? We sit and wait while Cersei's ravens fly and Tywin's riders saddle. Ned's gaze moved to Varys. Have ravens flown? He demanded. Varys lifted his hands slightly. I have heard whispers, he said gently. In the castle, whispers are often faster than ravens. Renly's voice sharpened. You see, every heartbeat is a risk. Ned's mouth tightened. I will not trade one unlawful seizure for another, he said. Robert named Stannis. We cannot place a regent above the heir without the realm seeing it as another theft. Renly's eyes burned. Then name me protector, he snapped. Make it lawful. Make it clean. Robert can still speak. He can still command. He can still say, my brother Renly shall hold the city until Stannis arrives. Ned's heart lurched. I will not, he said. Not now. He is drugged with poppy. Any command he gives now will be questioned. Renly's lips curled. Everything will be questioned, he said. That's the point. He turned away, cloak snapping. I will keep my men ready, he said, voice cold. Because when the knives come, Ned, your parchment won't stop them. My steel will. And he strode down the corridor, leaving Ned in the torchlight with his pain and his doubts. Varys approached a step, voice soft. You are trying to hold back a flood with your hands, he murmured. Be careful you do not drown. Ned looked after Renly, and he could not shake the feeling that the realm's fate now rested not on law alone, but on the fragile alignment of men who wanted different futures. The castle was a maze of shifting loyalties, but Ned's daughters were still a straight line in his mind. Protect them, whatever it cost. He found them in their chambers, where the windows looked out over the waking city. The sky was gray, and smoke drifted from cook fires like ghosts. Sansa sat on the edge of her bed, pale as milk, eyes swollen from crying. Septa Mordane hovered near her, wringing her hands, muttering prayers under her breath as if the seven might intervene if she pleaded loudly enough. Arya was not on the bed. Arya stood near the door, restless, cheeks smudged, hair tangled, dagger at her belt as if she had never stopped being ready to run. Her eyes were sharp, bright with fear she refused to show. "Ned," Sansa whispered, voice trembling. "What's happening?" "They're saying the Queen." Ned closed the door behind him and leaned on his cane. His legs screamed at the movement, but he forced himself upright, forced calm into his face. His daughters could not see his fear. "Not now. We are leaving the city," he said. Sansa stared at him, horrified. "Leaving? But Joffrey. Joffrey is not your concern," Ned said, gentle but firm. "You will do as I say." Arya's eyes narrowed. "Are we in danger?" she asked, blunt as ever. "Yes," Ned said. Septa Mordane gasped, pressing a hand to her chest. "My lord, the girls cannot." "They will," Ned said, cutting through her panic. He turned to Sansa, and his voice softened. "Listen to me. You must be brave. There are forces in this castle that would use you. They would hold you like a hostage to bend me. I will not allow it." Sansa's lip trembled. "But the Queen. She was kind to me." Ned felt a sharp, bitter ache. "The Queen is kind when it suits her," he said. "That is not kindness, Sansa. It is a lure." Arya snorted, but the sound was tight. "I told her," she muttered. Sansa glared at her through tears, then looked back to Ned, pleading. "Father, please, just tell me." Ned knelt despite the pain, lowering himself so his eyes were level with hers. He took her hands. Her fingers were cold. "You will go," he said quietly, "and you will live. That is what matters." Sansa swallowed, tears spilling. "Will you come?" Ned's throat tightened. "Not yet," he said. "I must finish what I began." Arya stepped closer, eyes fierce. "I can stay," she insisted. "I can fight." Ned looked at her and saw Catelyn's fire and his own stubbornness. He reached out and cupped her cheek, thumb brushing dirt away. "No," he said softly. "You will live. You will go home. You will both go home." He rose with effort, leaning on his cane. "You will leave by ship," he said. "I have men who will escort you to the river gate. You will not stop. You will not speak to anyone. You will not look back." Septa Mordane began to protest again, but Arya cut her off, voice sharp. "We'll go," she said, though her eyes did not leave Ned's face. "But if you die." "I won't," Ned lied because he had to. He turned to the trunks. "Pack only what you must carry," he instructed. "No jewels. No nonsense. Warm cloaks. Food." Sansa's hands trembled as she wiped her tears. Arya moved quickly, already gathering, already ready to flee. As Ned left their chamber, he felt the weight of it settle deeper. He was not just fighting for the realm now. He was fighting for the lives of the only innocents he could still clearly see. And in King's Landing, innocence was the first thing that bled. Cersei's cage was comfortable, which made it more insulting. She sat by the fire as if it were her hearth, not a prisoner's warmth, and watched the guards outside her door through the thin crack when it opened for food. Men changed. Faces rotated. That was the weakness of any siege. Fatigue, boredom, the small moments where discipline frayed. When the serving woman entered with a tray, Cersei did not look at the food. She looked at the woman. The girl's hands shook. She avoided Cersei's eyes the way rabbits avoided wolves. "What is your name?" Cersei asked. The girl startled, then stammered, "Lynna, your grace." Cersei smiled faintly. "Lynna," she said, tasting it. "A small name, a safe name." She leaned forward slightly. "Do you have a mother, Lynna?" The girl's throat bobbed. "Yes, your grace." "And does your mother live in the city?" Cersei asked softly.
Lynna hesitated.
The guards outside did not speak. They had learned that silence was safer than conversation.
Linna notet, pareli.
Cersei's gaze did not leave the girl. Then you will listen carefully, she said. Her voice was gentle enough to be mistaken for kindness. This is not your war. You did not choose it. But it will still swallow you if you let it. Lynna's eyes widened, fear blooming. Cersei reached up and removed a slender pin from her hair, gold-shaped like a lion's claw. It looked decorative. In her fingers it looked sharp. There are men outside who believe they are protecting the realm, she murmured. But they are only protecting a northern lord's pride. When my father comes, this castle will bleed. When it bleeds, servants die first. That is always how it goes. Lynna's lips parted, trembling. Your Grace, Cersei's smile sharpened. You will help me, she said. And in return, you and your mother will live. She took a scrap of parchment from beneath her sleeve, impossibly small, folded tight. Lynna's eyes flicked to it, then away, as if looking might mark her as guilty. Cersei slid the parchment toward the cup of wine on the tray, and with the hairpin she pushed it down until it disappeared beneath the dark surface. You will carry this tray to Grand Maester Pycelle, she said softly. You will say the Queen requests the Maester's wisdom and his prayers. He will understand. Lynna's hands shook harder. They will not search a servant's tray, Cersei murmured. Not until it is too late. Lynna swallowed, eyes bright with tears. Cersei leaned closer, and her voice dropped into something that felt like a hand closing around Lynna's throat. If you refuse, she whispered, then when my father arrives and asks who served me, your name will be spoken. Your mother's name will be spoken. Names are fragile things, Lynna. They break easily. Lynna's tears spilled. She nodded, a tiny motion, surrender without words. Cersei sat back, satisfied, and waved her away as if dismissing a nuisance. Lynna fled, tray trembling, wine sloshing, the hidden parchment riding beneath the surface like a secret fish. When the door shut again, Cersei stared at the fire, eyes cold. Ned Stark believed he had cut her off from the world. He had not understood that the world always seeped through cracks. The castle was full of cracks. Servants, maesters, frightened men with hungry hearts. And Cersei Lannister knew how to turn every crack into a blade. Grand Maester Pycelle's chamber smelled of parchment and stale herbs, the air heavy with age and old secrets. Lynna entered like a mouse, tray held as if it might bite her. Pycelle looked up, blinking. The Queen requests your prayers, Lynna whispered, voice barely audible. Pycelle's brows rose. His gaze flicked to the door, then to the tray. The Queen, he murmured. Yes, of course. He reached for the wine, fingers thick and unsteady. Lynna's breath caught. For a heartbeat she thought he would drink it, swallow the message, drown it in poppy and ignorance. But Pycelle's eyes narrowed. He turned the cup slightly, watching the way the light shifted through the dark red surface. Something pale caught the edge. He set the cup down carefully and fished with a finger, slow and deliberate, until he drew the small folded scrap free. Lynna trembled, eyes wide. Pycelle unfolded the parchment with hands that steadied as he read. His face shifted. Fear, recognition, and something like greed. He looked up sharply, and his gaze found Lynna like a hook. You said nothing of this, he hissed. Lynna shook her head, tears spilling. Pycelle's eyes flicked toward the ravens in their cages, black shapes shifting, restless. He glanced toward the door again, as if expecting it to burst open with northern guards. He moved to a desk, fingers fumbling with quill and ink. Go, he whispered to Lynna. Go, girl. Go before you drown us all.
Lynna fled.
Pycelle's hands shook as he wrote, but his mind was quick now, driven by survival. He sealed the message, tied it to a raven's leg, and then a soft sound came from the corner of the room, like silk brushing stone. Pycelle froze. Varys stepped into the candlelight, smiling faintly, eyes sorrowful. Grand Maester, he murmured. What a busy morning. Pycelle's face went pale. Lord Varys, he stammered. I was sending prayers, Varys said gently, gaze flicking to the raven, to the seal, to the trembling ink. How devout. Pycelle's mouth opened, closed, opened again. The queen, she. Varys's smile did not change, but something colder moved beneath it. The queen is in custody, he said softly. It would be unfortunate if her prayers turned into ravens. Pycelle's shoulders sagged, a man caught with his hands in sin. I am sworn, he pleaded, voice cracking, to serve the realm. You serve yourself, Varys murmured, and sometimes that is the same thing. Pycelle's eyes darted, desperate. Tywin, Lord Tywin must know. He will come. He will. He will, Varys agreed quietly. But perhaps not today. Perhaps not yet. Pycelle's breathing quickened. You can't. Varys lifted a hand, gentle. Of course I can, he said. I have many little birds. They sing for me. He stepped closer, and his voice dropped. You will sit, Grand Maester. You will write nothing. You will send nothing. You will wait. Pycelle's eyes flicked to the raven, trapped in its cage, wings beating softly. His fingers hovered near the latch as if tempted to release it anyway. Varys's gaze hardened, the softness falling away like a mask. If you open that cage, he whispered, you will open your own throat. Pycelle swallowed, sweat beading on his brow. Slowly, he withdrew his hand. Varys smiled again, sorrow returning. There, he murmured. How simple. He reached out and removed the sealed message from the raven's leg as if plucking a feather, then tucked it into his sleeve. I will keep this safe, he said, voice mild, for the good of the realm. Pycelle sank into a chair, shaking, old bones suddenly heavy with fear. Varys turned toward the door, pausing only long enough to glance back. Tell the queen, he said softly, that her cracks are being watched. Then he left, silent as a shadow, and Pycelle sat alone with the ravens, listening to their restless wings and the sound of his own cowardly heart. Ned's patience ran out like blood from a wound, slow at first, then all at once. He found Baelish in a corridor near the inner yards, moving with the casual confidence of a man who believed the castle belonged to him. Baelish's smile was ready, polished, effortless. My lord hand, he said lightly, still standing, impressive. Ned did not return the smile. Two of Renly's knights stepped into Baelish's path, blocking him. Their hands rested on their sword hilts, not drawn fully, but enough. Baelish's eyes flicked to them, then back to Ned. Is this necessary? He asked, tone amused. You're beginning to look like a man who doesn't trust his friends. I do not have friends in this city, Ned said. Baelish chuckled. A lonely way to rule. I am not ruling, Ned said, voice cold. And you are not leaving the castle. Baelish's brows rose. Not leaving, he tilted his head. I was simply going to check on the treasury, to ensure the Gold Cloaks remain cooperative. Ned's grip tightened on his cane. You will not speak to Janos Slynt again, he said. You will not speak to the Watch. You will not send word outside these walls. You will remain where I can see you. Baelish's smile thinned, a crack showing beneath the charm. Ah, he murmured. So the wolf bares his teeth. Ned stepped closer, eyes hard. You helped Jon Arryn die, he said quietly. The accusation was a blade slipped between ribs, spoken without flourish. And you helped poison this court. I should have seen it sooner. Baelish's eyes glittered, a flash of irritation, then amusement. What a serious thing to say, he murmured. Do you have proof, my lord? Or is this another of your honorable instincts? Ned did not blink. I have enough, he said, and I have the authority to keep you from doing further harm. Baelish sighed, dramatic. Keeping me here will not stop harm, he said. It will only blind you. I'm very useful, Ned. You're cutting off your own hand. I have two hands, Ned replied, and steel besides. Baelish's gaze flicked to the knights again, assessing. He could not charm them easily. They were Renly's, not his. His smile widened again, but it was sharper now, edged with contempt. "You think this is control," he murmured. "It's not. It's fear. You're frightened, and you're trying to turn fright into chains." Ned leaned in, voice low. "You would sell this realm for a clever story," he said. "You would watch it burn and call it a game. I will not let you." Baelish's eyes narrowed slightly, then softened into mock sympathy. "And what will you do?" he whispered. "When your honor gets you killed anyway?" Ned's face did not change. "Then I die," he said. "But I won't die with your lies in my mouth." He straightened. "Take him," he ordered. The knights moved. Baelish did not resist, not physically. He let them take his arms, still smiling faintly, as if amused by a child's tantrum. As they led him away, he turned his head toward Ned, voice soft enough to slip through the torchlight. "You've made an enemy you don't understand," he murmured. "And enemies you don't understand are always the ones that cut deepest." Ned watched him go, and despite himself, a chill ran through him. Baelish's power was not in steel. It was in doors left unlocked, in men paid to forget, in secrets that turned love into poison. Locking him in a room did not erase the secrets he had already scattered. But it was something. And in King's Landing, sometimes something was the only mercy you could afford. Janos Slynt's loyalty had always been a creature with a price, and prices rose when kings died. In the barracks beneath the Red Keep, Slynt sat at a rough table with coin piled before him, gold dragons catching torchlight like tiny suns. A man in red leather stood close, whispering, voice low and urgent. His cloak was not a lion's, but the stitching on his glove carried a familiar crimson. "The Queen will remember," the messenger murmured. "Lord Tywin will remember. You stand with them now, you stand with gold for life." Slynt's eyes gleamed. He ran thick fingers through the coin, listening to its soft clink like music. "Gold for life," he muttered. "And if the wolves win?" The messenger's mouth tightened. "The wolves are alone," he said. "And winter comes." Slynt chuckled, a wet sound. "Winter," he repeated, as if tasting the word. "Winter doesn't scare me. I've never seen it." Around them, Gold Cloaks pretended not to listen, but their eyes watched the coin, hungry. Men were simple when their bellies were empty. Slynt leaned closer to the messenger. "What does Tywin offer?" he asked softly. The messenger hesitated, then slid a second pouch onto the table. It hit with weight. Slynt's smile widened. "I can open a gate," Slynt murmured. "I can let men in. I can." A faint sound at the door made him pause. Not loud, just a whisper of leather, the soft shift of a boot. Slynt's eyes narrowed. Outside the barracks, in the corridor's shadow, one of Renly's knights stood still as stone, hand resting on his sword hilt. He had been posted there on Ned's order, watching the watch. The knight did not move. He did not announce himself. He simply waited, listening. Inside, Slynt's gaze flicked to the door again. His fingers tightened on the pouch. He could feel the air change, the way prey felt a predator's attention. Slynt was no fool. He had survived King's Landing by sensing when the wind shifted. He pushed the coin aside quickly, too quickly. "Get out," he hissed to the messenger. "Not now." The messenger's eyes widened. "You said." "I said nothing," Slynt snarled. "Go." The messenger snatched the pouch and slipped toward a back passage, disappearing like a rat into stone. Slynt rose, smoothing his armor, forcing his face into a mask of bored authority. He strode to the door and yanked it open. The green-cloaked knight stood there, expression unreadable. "Problem?" Slynt demanded. The knight's gaze held his. "No," he said, "just making sure the watch remembers its duty." Slynt's smile was tight. "Always," he lied. The knight's eyes drifted past him, to the table, to the scattered coin, then back. "Good," he said softly, "because if the watch forgets, it will be reminded." He turned and walked away. Slynt watched him go, breath tight, and felt something rare stir beneath his greed. Unease. The wolves had teeth now. Green teeth, white teeth, northern teeth. And if he chose wrong, coin would not stop steal. But choosing right in King's Landing was a myth. Slynt returned to his table and stared at the remaining gold dragons. And for the first time in years, the shine did not comfort him. Robert died in the late morning, when the sun was a pale coin behind cloud, and the city below the castle walls went about its business unaware that the realm had just changed shape. Ned was there when it happened. He stood by the bed, hands clenched so tightly his nails bit into his palms. Barristan Selmy knelt, head bowed, lips moving in silent prayer. Renly stood near the door, face hard, eyes bright with something he would not name. Robert's breaths had grown shallow, each one a struggle, and then, without drama, without trumpet, without any grand final curse, the struggle ended. For a heartbeat, the chamber was utterly still. Then Pycelle's assistants moved, murmuring, drawing a sheet up over the king's face with trembling hands. The sight of the cloth covering Robert Baratheon, covering the man who had once roared with laughter and smashed foes with a hammer, hit Ned like a blow. His throat tightened, his eyes burned. He had come south to serve his friend. He had come south to hold a kingdom together. And now his friend was dead, and the kingdom was a fracture waiting to widen. Barristan rose slowly, his face pale. "The king is dead," he said, voice quiet and absolute. Renly exhaled, the sound sharp as a snapped bowstring. "Then we have no time," he said. Ned's grief hardened into resolve. "Sound the bells," he commanded. "Call the council, secure the gates, double the guards on the queen and her children." Pycelle shuffled forward, eyes watery, voice tremulous. "We must announce." "We will," Ned said, cutting him off. "But not as the queen wishes." Renly's gaze snapped to Ned. "Now," he said, "this is the moment to declare protections, to shape the story before Cersei does. You understand that, don't you?" Ned met his eyes. "I understand," he said. Barristan's voice cut in firm. "The succession must be proclaimed," he said. "The realm cannot be left without a king."
Ned nodded.
"Stannis will be proclaimed," he said. "By Robert's will, by Robert's last spoken words, by witnesses." Renly's jaw tightened. "And if Stannis does not arrive in time?" he demanded. Ned's eyes hardened. "Then we hold until he does." Renly stared at him, and Ned saw the hunger in him again, the fear, the determination. "Holding is a kind of war," Renly said softly, "and wars make kings." Ned did not answer that. He could not afford to. Outside the chamber, bells began to toll. Slow at first, then spreading across the castle and out into the city like ripples. The sound was mournful, heavy, dragging itself across rooftops and alleys. King's Landing would hear and understand. The stag had fallen, and with that understanding would come panic, ambition, and blood. Ned looked at the covered face of his friend and whispered a farewell he could not speak aloud. Then he turned away, limping, and went to meet the living wolves waiting beyond the door.